The Phantom Fleet. The silence of deep space was a comfort to Captain Darius Vega. Standing on the bridge of the Galactic Union exploration vessel Horizont, he watched the stars drift by in their eternal dance, each one a potential discovery waiting to be catalogued. His dark skin contrasted with the silver of his uniform, the captain's insignia glinting under the ambient light of the bridge. 20 years of exploration had taught him that the greatest discoveries often came when least expected. "Captain," called Science Officer Lyra Knox, her four-fingered hands dancing across her console, the iridescent scales on her face catching the light of her screens. "We're detecting an unusual energy signature at the edge of the Cygnus void." Vega moved to her station, his interest piqued. The Cygnus void was a region most vessels avoided, a vast expanse where stars were scarce and navigation systems struggled to maintain reliable coordinates. "What kind of signature?" he asked, studying the readouts. Lyra's vertical pupils narrowed as she focused on the data. "It's peculiar, rhythmic pulses at intervals of exactly 107.3 seconds, too precise to be natural." "A distress beacon." "Possibly, but the encryption." She hesitated, her voice dropping to a whisper. "It doesn't match any current Galactic Union patterns. In fact, it bears a striking similarity to pre-extinction human military codes." The bridge fell silent. Several crew members exchanged troubled glances. "That's impossible," said Navigator Zorn, his crystalline exoskeleton clicking as he shifted uncomfortably. "The human species was confirmed extinct over 2 centuries ago. Their territories were sterilized during the necessary purge." Vega's expression hardened. Like most officers in the Galactic Union, he'd studied the history of humanity's demise, a species too volatile, too unpredictable in their technological development to be allowed unfettered expansion. The official records stated that all human colonies had been neutralized, with survivors gradually integrating into other societies until they eventually died out. "Plot a course to the signal's origin," Vega ordered. "Maintain science protocols but prepare defensive systems. If someone is broadcasting using old human codes, I want to know why." As the Horizont altered course toward the mysterious signal, Vega retreated to his quarters, accessing historical archives about humanity's final days. The species had been remarkably adaptable, advancing from primitive technology to interstellar capability in less than 2 millennia, a pace that had alarmed the established spacefaring civilizations. What troubled him most was humanity's particular gift for weaponizing peaceful technology. Where other species might develop faster engines for exploration, humans invariably found ways to make them into delivery systems for devastatingly effective weapons within single generations. 3 days later, the Horizont navigated through the turbulent gravitational eddies of the Cygnus void, emerging into a region of unnatural stillness. Here, the background radiation of space seemed dampened, and distant stars appeared dimmer, as if viewed through a filter. "Sensor anomaly detected," announced Lyra, her scales changing from iridescent blue to a concerned purple. "Something massive is displacing space approximately 1,800 kilometers ahead, but visual confirmation shows nothing." "Maintain distance," Vega ordered, launching a series of probe drones. The data they returned confounded even the ship's most sophisticated analysis systems. Something was there, something enormous, yet it remained invisible to standard detection protocols. "Apply phase shift imaging," Vega commanded, referencing an old technique developed for detecting cloaked vessels. The main view screen flickered, then resolved into an image that caused audible gasps throughout the bridge. A massive warship hung motionless in space, its obsidian hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The vessel stretched nearly 4 kilometers from bow to stern, with a design unlike anything in current Galactic Union records. Its shape suggested singular purpose, a predator designed for war, with sharp angles and weapon emplacements covering its surface. Most unsettling were the markings along its hull. Human language symbols, partially visible beneath layers of specialized material designed to absorb sensor scans. "Prometheus," Lyra translated, accessing archived human language files. In their mythology, a figure who gave fire to humans against the wishes of the gods. How appropriate, Vega muttered. Scan for life signs. The results came moments later, thousands of biological signatures in suspended animation. Humans, somehow they had survived. Vega understood the implications immediately. If humans had secretly survived the purge, hidden away in this unremarkable region of space for 2 centuries, what else might the Union's historical records be wrong about? Sir, interrupted Communications Officer Terrace, his tentacles waving in agitation, we're receiving a transmission from the vessel. It's activating. The dormant warship systems were powering up, lights flickering across its massive hull as ancient machinery awakened. Weapon ports remained closed, but sensors detected enormous energy buildups throughout the vessel. Open communications channel, Vega ordered, straightening his uniform. This is Captain Darius Vega of the Galactic Union exploration vessel Horizont. We come with peaceful. The viewscreen changed to show a human female, her pale skin contrasting with short platinum hair. Eyes sharp with intelligence and wariness, she wore a uniform of deep charcoal with platinum insignia that matched no known historical record. This is Commander Nyla Frost of the Earth Defense Force warship Prometheus, she stated, her voice carrying the weight of command. You have entered restricted space. State your intentions immediately. Vega recovered quickly from his shock. Commander Frost, humanity is believed extinct throughout the galaxy. Your presence here raises many questions. A cold smile crossed the human's face. Captain, we were never extinct, merely patient. After tense negotiations, Commander Frost agreed to allow a small delegation from the Horizont to board the Prometheus. Vega led the team himself, accompanied by Lyra and Security Chief Cadix, a hulking Tyraxian whose species had evolved as apex predators on a high-gravity world. The shuttle journey to the human warship revealed more details of its imposing construction. What had appeared smooth at a distance showed itself to be intricately layered armor plating with subtle patterns that seemed to shift under direct observation. Adaptive camouflage technology far beyond current Union capabilities. They docked in a cavernous bay that could have housed dozens of vessels their size. Human security personnel, fully armored and armed with weapons of unfamiliar design, escorted them through corridors that hummed with energy. Vega noticed that only a small portion of the ship seemed fully active. Most sections remained in low-power mode. Commander Frost met them in what appeared to be a command center, where holographic displays showed star charts and system diagnostics. She was tall for a human, with a bearing that suggested both military discipline and the weight of tremendous responsibility. 217 years, she said without preamble. That's how long we've waited, hidden here in the void, gathering intelligence and preparing. Preparing for what? Asked Vega. For the moment when humanity would be ready to reclaim its place among the stars. Frost gestured to a nearby console, and a holographic timeline appeared, showing the history of Earth's fall, but from the human perspective. According to Frost, the necessary purge had been a preemptive strike against humanity, not because they were aggressive, but because several Union species had discovered human potential for technological advancement and feared being rendered obsolete. But not all humans were on Earth or the known colonies, she explained. Project Prometheus was our insurance policy. 15 arcs, each carrying 40,000 of our best and brightest, scattered to the far reaches of the galaxy. This ship is merely the first to awaken. The revelation stunned Vega and his team. If true, it meant that potentially hundreds of thousands of humans had survived, hidden throughout unexplored regions of space, likely with technology that had continued to advance despite their isolation. Why reveal yourselves now? Lyra asked, her scales shifting to an inquisitive green. Commander Frost's expression hardened. Because our long-range sensors detected something your Union hasn't yet, a threat approaching from beyond the galactic rim, something that makes our past conflicts seem trivial. She activated another display, showing sensor readings of massive objects moving toward the galaxy at incredible speeds. entities far larger than any known ship or station. These will reach Union space within 4 years, Frost said. And when they do, our petty grievances will mean nothing. Humanity is offering its help, our technology, our strategies, our warriors, not out of forgiveness but necessity. Vega studied the readings, his scientific training recognizing patterns that suggested artificial, controlled movement rather than natural phenomena. The Union Council must be informed immediately. They will be, Frost agreed. But first, Captain, I need to show you something that will convince even the most skeptical counselor that humanity's return is not a threat, but their only hope for survival. She led them deeper into the ship, past laboratories where humans worked on technologies Vega couldn't begin to comprehend, through manufacturing centers producing materials with properties that defied conventional physics. Finally, they reached a secured chamber at the heart of the vessel. Inside stood a device no larger than a transport shuttle, yet Vega's instruments detected energy readings that should have been impossible for something its size. "This," said Commander Frost with unmistakable pride, "is why your Union feared us. The Nexus Drive, a dimensional folding engine that can create stable wormholes between any 2 points in space, regardless of distance." The implications were staggering. Such technology would revolutionize travel, trade, and warfare throughout the galaxy, and it was just one of humanity's achievements during their 2 centuries of isolation. "Tomorrow," Frost continued, "we begin awakening the rest of our crew. Within a week, the Prometheus will be fully operational. Within a month, we'll make contact with the other arcs. And then, Captain Vega, humanity returns to the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as guardians against what comes from beyond." As Vega contemplated this paradigm shift, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. A human officer rushed into the chamber, face tense with urgency. "Commander, long-range sensors detect Vrexian warships approaching at high speed, heavily armed. They're not responding to hails." Frost's expression darkened. "The Vrexian Dominion, they've been hunting us for decades. Apparently they've found us, and they're not interested in peaceful reunion." "The Vrexians aren't part of the Galactic Union," Vega said, confused. "They operate independently in the outer systems." "They were the ones who first proposed the purge, Captain," Frost replied grimly. "They've been systematically eliminating any evidence of human survival for centuries. I suspect they know about the coming threat and would rather face it alone than allow humanity to return." The command center erupted into controlled chaos as Commander Frost strode purposefully to her station. Around her, humans who had been in suspended animation mere hours ago worked with practiced efficiency. "Tactical assessment," Frost ordered sharply. A holographic display materialized, showing 5 Vrexian warships approaching in attack formation, their distinctive blade-like silhouettes unmistakable. "Your vessel is in danger as well, Captain," Frost noted. "The Vrexians won't leave witnesses, they never do." Vega knew the implications instantly. His exploration vessel was no match for Vrexian warships. If he fled, the humans would likely be destroyed, and with them, any hope of understanding the approaching threat. If he stayed, he risked his ship and crew in a conflict they weren't equipped to handle. "Captain," Lyra said quietly, "these humans possess technology that could benefit the entire galaxy. And if their sensor data is accurate, we all face extinction without their help." Vega made his decision. "Commander Frost, the Horizont offers whatever assistance we can provide. But I must warn you, once the Union discovers humans have survived, there will be factions that call for finishing what was started centuries ago." Frost's cold smile returned. "Captain, that's why we waited until we were ready. Now you'll see firsthand why humanity survived against all odds." The massive human warship surged to life, dormant systems awakening as thousands more cryopods activated, awakening specially trained crews. What had seemed like a partially functioning relic transformed into a formidable war machine within minutes. As the Vrexian fleet closed in, Vega was struck by a chilling thought. The galaxy had believed humanity extinct for 2 centuries, but they had merely been hiding, watching, learning, and preparing. Now they were back, with advanced technology, tactical knowledge of all major species, and a united purpose. Whether that purpose would save the galaxy or plunge it into another war remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. The myth of humanity's extinction was about to be shattered forever, and the shockwaves would reach every corner of known space. The Prometheus moved with impossible grace for a vessel its size, positioning itself between the horizon and the approaching Vrexian fleet. Weapon systems unlike anything Vega had ever seen emerged from previously invisible ports along its hull. The ghost of humanity's past had returned to haunt the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Harbinger Protocol. The main bridge of the Prometheus was a testament to humanity's evolution during their centuries of isolation. Captain Darius Vega watched in astonishment as Commander Nyla Frost orchestrated her crew with practiced precision. Holographic displays materialized and dissolved around her, providing real-time tactical data as the 5 Vrexian warships closed in. "Your ship is outgunned," Frost stated matter-of-factly to Vega. "The horizon should take position behind us. Our defense grid can extend to cover you." Vega nodded, communicating the order to his vessel. As an exploration ship, the horizon carried only minimal defensive capabilities, nothing that would withstand a direct assault from Vrexian weaponry. "Long-range sensors indicate the Vrexians are charging their primary disruptor arrays," reported a human officer, her fingers dancing across a console that seemed to respond to both touch and thought. "Deploy quantum shields," Frost ordered calmly. "Prepare phase cannons but hold fire until my command. We'll give them one chance to withdraw." Before Vega could inquire about these unfamiliar technologies, a shimmer of energy enveloped the massive human warship, extending backward to encompass the horizon as well. The shield was unlike anything in the Galactic Union's arsenal, not the standard particle barriers that absorbed energy, but something that seemed to exist partially in another dimension. "Open communications," Frost commanded. The main viewscreen flashed to life, revealing a Vrexian commander. The alien's exoskeleton gleamed with bioluminescent markings denoting high military rank, its 4 compound eyes fixed in an expression Vega recognized as aggressive determination. "This is Commander Nyla Frost of the Earth Defense Force warship Prometheus. You are approaching restricted space with weapons charged. State your intentions or withdraw immediately." The Vrexian's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation or perhaps derision. "I am Supreme Hunter Zothkal of the Vrexian Dominion. Your species was condemned to extinction. Your continued existence violates the Purge Protocol established by the Galactic Concord." "The Galactic Concord was dissolved 80 years ago when the Union was formed," Vega interjected, stepping into view. "The Purge Protocol is no longer recognized under Union law." Zothkal's compound eyes shifted toward Vega. "Captain Vega of the Horizon, your presence alongside this abomination marks your Union as contaminated. Stand aside or be destroyed with them." Frost raised an eyebrow at the Vrexian's ultimatum. "Hunter Zothkal, we have no quarrel with your people, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. Be warned, we are not the same humans your ancestors thought they destroyed." Without further response, the Vrexian cut the transmission. Moments later, their lead vessel fired a searing beam of green energy directly at the Prometheus. The quantum shield rippled but held, dispersing the attack energy into what appeared to be miniature rifts in spacetime that quickly sealed themselves. "They always choose the hard way," Frost sighed. "Target their weapons systems only, demonstrate our capabilities without destroying their vessels." What followed left Vega speechless. The Prometheus launched a series of small, autonomous drones that moved with impossible speed, passing directly through the Vrexian shields as if they weren't there. The drones attached themselves to the weapon emplacements of the enemy vessels, causing cascading system failures across the Vrexian fleet. Within moments, all 5 warships drifted powerless, their weapons and propulsion systems neutralized without a single destruction shot fired. "Phase shift technology," Frost explained, nodding Vega's amazement. The drones exist partially out of phase with normal spacetime, allowing them to bypass conventional barriers. This technology alone would revolutionize Union defense systems, Lyra commented, her scales now a fascinated gold color. And that's precisely why we remained hidden, Frost replied grimly. Your Union wouldn't have allowed humans to possess such advantages. We would have been stripped of our discoveries and then eliminated as a potential threat. Before Vega could respond, his communication officer cut in with urgency. Captain, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Galactic Union headquarters. Priority Alpha. The view screen changed to show Admiral Jeriel Thorne, Supreme Commander of the Union's defense forces. His imposing figure, wrapped in the ceremonial black and silver uniform of his rank, seemed to fill the screen with authority. Captain Vega, Thorne began, his voice sharp with anger, our long-range sensors detected weapons fire in your vicinity. Report your situation immediately. Vega hesitated, acutely aware that he stood at a pivotal historical moment. His next words would forever alter the course of galactic politics. Admiral Thorne, I have made contact with the human warship Prometheus. Humanity is not extinct as our historical records claim. They have been in hiding, developing advanced technologies. We were just attacked by Vrexian forces, but the situation is now contained. Thorne's expression darkened. Did you say human? That's impossible. The species was eradicated centuries ago. I'm looking at them now, sir. Thousands of them aboard a vessel with technology far beyond our current capabilities. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. Captain, you will withdraw immediately. This matter requires full Council intervention. I am dispatching a battle group to your coordinates. Commander Frost stepped forward. Admiral Thorne, I presume? Commander Nyla Frost of the Earth Defense Force. Your battle group won't be necessary. We come in peace, despite our history with your predecessor civilizations. Thorne stared at the human commander with barely concealed hostility. Your species was deemed too dangerous to coexist with civilized society. That assessment appears unchanged, given your apparent military capabilities. Then perhaps you should also know, Frost continued evenly, that the Prometheus is merely one of 15 similar vessels scattered throughout the galaxy, all preparing to emerge from hiding. But we didn't reveal ourselves to restart old conflicts. We detected something approaching, something that threatens all sentient life in this galaxy. Chaos erupted in the council chamber as representatives scrambled for information. Security personnel flooded in, establishing defensive positions. The Vrexians are transmitting a message, the officer continued. They demand we surrender the humans to their custody or face destruction. Thorne's face hardened with rage. This is an act of war against the Union itself, he turned to Frost. Did you know about this? Is this some elaborate human scheme? The Vrexians have been hunting human survivors for centuries, Frost replied, tension evident in her voice. We've intercepted enough communications to know they're hiding something connected to the Harbingers. The entire station shook as Vrexian weapons fire impacted the defensive shields. The Prometheus stands ready to assist, Frost offered. Our defensive systems can protect the station while you evacuate the council. Thorne hesitated, caught between ancient prejudice and immediate necessity. Very well, Commander, defend this station, but know that every action you take will be scrutinized. Frost nodded and activated her communication device. Prometheus Actual, execute Harbinger Protocol Alpha, defensive formation around Union headquarters. What followed was a demonstration of military capability that left the Council representatives in stunned silence. The Prometheus moved with impossible speed and precision, its quantum shields expanding to encompass the entire station. When the Vrexian fleet concentrated their fire, the human vessel absorbed the energy and redirected it through space-time rifts that opened directly in front of key Vrexian systems, effectively returning their fire against them. Meanwhile, another holographic display activated in the council chamber, showing Lieutenant Commander Julian Wells, the Prometheus's science officer, who had remained aboard during the council session. "Commander Frost, we've completed deep scans of the Vrexian flagship," he reported. "You need to see this immediately." The display changed to show interior scans of the Vrexian vessel. What they revealed caused gasps throughout the chamber. Within the ship's core, a pulsating crystalline structure emitted energy patterns identical to those observed from the approaching Harbinger entities. "They're already here," Vega whispered, comprehension dawning. "The Vrexians aren't trying to prevent human reintegration. They're being controlled by advanced elements of the Harbinger force." Frost nodded grimly. "That's why they've been so determined to eliminate human survivors. We're the only ones who recognize the pattern." Admiral Thorne studied the evidence, his earlier hostility giving way to grim realization. "If this is true, the entire Union could be compromised without our knowledge." "Not yet," Frost assured him. "Our research suggests the crystalline nodes can only maintain control over organisms within certain proximity. But as the main Harbinger force approaches, that range will extend dramatically." Outside, the battle continued, but the superior technology of the Prometheus was turning the tide. The human vessel deployed what Frost called dimensional anchors, devices that created localized pockets of altered space-time, trapping Vrexian ships and preventing their escape. The Harbinger Protocol wasn't just about hiding from the galaxy, Frost explained to the Council as they watched the battle unfold. "It was our plan for identifying and countering the infiltration we knew would precede the main invasion. Humanity spent 2 centuries developing technology specifically designed to combat the Harbingers." "Why?" asked a Council representative. "Why would humans prepare for a threat that hadn't yet revealed itself?" "Because we found evidence of them on Earth, buried in our ancient archaeological sites," Frost replied. "The Harbingers visit galaxies in cycles spanning millions of years. They influenced our earliest civilizations, and we believe they've done the same to other species. The Vrexians were simply the most susceptible to their control this cycle." As the battle outside reached its conclusion, with the Prometheus systematically disabling the Vrexian fleet without destroying them, Admiral Thorne approached Frost and Vega. "It seems I owe you an apology, Commander," he said stiffly. "Your actions today have saved countless lives." "Save your apologies for after we've dealt with the Harbingers, Admiral," Frost replied. "This was merely their advance force. The main body will arrive within 4 years, and when it does, we'll need every species in this galaxy working together." "The full Harbinger Protocol," Vega guessed. "That's what this was all about, not just humanity's survival but preparation for a galactic defense." Frost nodded. "The other arcs carry different aspects of our defense plan, specialized ships, weapons, and technologies all designed to counter the Harbinger capabilities. But they're scattered and vulnerable. We need the Union's resources to bring them safely out of hiding." 3 days later, a much-changed Galactic Union Council reconvened. With the evidence of Vrexian infiltration now undeniable, and the disabled Vrexian ships providing ample proof of the crystalline control nodes, even the most skeptical representatives had to acknowledge the threat. Admiral Thorne, looking considerably humbled, addressed the assembly. "In light of recent events, I propose a formal alliance with the human survivors and the implementation of what they call the Harbinger Protocol. While our history with humanity has been complicated, their foresight and technological development may represent our only hope against this extragalactic threat." The vote was nearly unanimous. Centuries of prejudice gave way to the practicalities of survival. Humanity would be reintegrated into galactic society, their technology shared under carefully negotiated terms, and their military expertise leveraged against the coming invasion. As the council session concluded, Vega found Frost watching the proceedings with an unreadable expression. "You got what you wanted," he observed. "Humanity returns to the galactic stage as saviors rather than pariahs." "What I wanted was for my species to live in peace," she replied quietly. "What I got was the responsibility of leading a galaxy into the most difficult fight of its existence." "You've been preparing for this moment for centuries," Vega reminded her. "If any species is ready, it's yours." Frost's gaze drifted to the vast starfield visible through the council chamber's viewport. Ready, perhaps, but the Harbingers have been doing this for millions of years, moving from galaxy to galaxy, consuming and controlling. They're patient in a way even we can't comprehend. Then it's fortunate that humanity has proven to be patient as well, Vega said with newfound respect. 2 centuries of hiding, watching, and preparing. Perhaps patience will be the virtue that saves us all. 1 month later, the Prometheus led a joint Human Union task force to recover the first of the hidden arcs. As their fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the coordinates Frost had provided, they were greeted by the magnificent sight of another massive human vessel emerging from its concealment. The Athena was similar in size to the Prometheus, but clearly designed for different purposes. Where the Prometheus was a warship through and through, the Athena carried vast research facilities and manufacturing capabilities. Captain Vega, now appointed as the Union liaison to the human fleet, stood beside Commander Frost on the bridge of the Prometheus as they watched the Athena power up its systems for the first time in 2 centuries. Each arc specialized in different aspects of technology and science, Frost explained. The Prometheus focused on weapons and defense. The Athena specialized in understanding and counteracting the Harbinger's biological control mechanisms. And the others, Vega asked. Scattered throughout the galaxy, the Hermes focused on communication technologies that can't be intercepted or corrupted. The Apollo developed energy systems that the Harbingers can't drain or manipulate, each piece of the puzzle designed to counter a specific Harbinger capability. As the 2 vessels established communication and began coordinating their integration into the joint fleet, Vega reflected on how quickly the galaxy had changed. In just 1 month, humanity had gone from a forgotten footnote in history to the linchpin of galactic defense strategy. You know, Commander, he said thoughtfully, when we first detected your signal, I feared we were discovering a remnant of humanity bent on revenge for the Purge. Some of us wanted that, Frost admitted. But vengeance is a luxury none of us can afford with the Harbingers approaching. Besides, most of the species that participated in the Purge are either extinct themselves or have evolved beyond recognition. Your Union is not the same entity that tried to eradicate us. Their conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Commander Wells. Commander, Captain, we're receiving a transmission from beyond the galactic rim. Both officers turned in surprise as the main viewscreen activated. What appeared was not an image, but a pattern of light and darkness that shifted in hypnotic, seemingly random configurations. Yet somehow, both Vega and Frost understood its meaning perfectly. A direct neural interface bypassing normal communication channels. We have watched your kind for eons, the pattern conveyed. Your resistance is anticipated but futile. All life serves the purpose of the Harbingers. Frost's jaw tightened. They're trying to demoralize us. The fact that they feel the need to communicate at all suggests they recognize us as a genuine threat. Or they're simply arrogant, Vega suggested. Either way, they've revealed something important. They've been watching and waiting just as humanity has. The difference, Frost said with steel in her voice, is that while they were watching, we were preparing. She turned to her communications officer. Send a response on all channels using the quantum encryption protocol. Frost squared her shoulders and addressed the alien intelligence directly. This is Commander Nyla Frost of humanity. We know what you are. We know what you've done to countless civilizations, and we know how to stop you. The galaxy you found sleeping will awaken to meet you, united, prepared, and unafraid. The pattern on the screen pulsed more rapidly, perhaps indicating surprise or even concern before fading away. In the silence that followed, Captain Vega realized that the galaxy stood at the threshold of its greatest challenge. But for the first time in centuries, all species faced it together, their ancient grievances set aside in the face of extinction. And at the center of this newfound unity stood humanity, once purged, now returned, transformed by isolation into something stronger, more disciplined, and infinitely more dangerous than the species the galaxy had feared so long ago. The Harbingers were coming, But thanks to humanity's patience and foresight, the galaxy would not face them unprepared. As the fleet prepared to recover the next arc, Frost handed Vega a small device, a quantum communicator keyed to her personal frequency. "The real war hasn't even begun, Captain," she said quietly. "But when it does, I'm glad to have you standing with us." Vega accepted the device, feeling the weight of history and future balanced in his palm. "Not just me, Commander, all of us, together." Beyond the viewport, the stars seemed to pulse with new significance, each one a battlefield in the coming conflict, each one worth saving. The ghost of humanity's past had returned not to haunt the galaxy, but to lead it into the most important fight of its existence. And for the first time since discovering the Prometheus, Captain Darius Vega felt something he had not expected: hope.